In this video, we're going to show you how to fill out quadrant number 1, personal information. This quadrant is made up of 7 sections, the first of which is a release statement. Here, you want to make sure that you read this entire paragraph. And basically, by clicking here, you are certifying that all of the information that you are putting into this application is accurate. These 2 statements here, make sure to read them, but basically by acknowledging, you are authorizing your information to be shared among CSU campuses and their affiliates. So we recommend acknowledging it. The next screen is the biographic information. Here, you'll notice that some of the information is already pre-populated based on the information you included in the profile section. If for any reason this information has changed, make sure to click on the profile section link here to make those changes. You also want to indicate whether or not you have been known by any other name or if you have a preferred name. Additionally, you will be asked about your legal sex and what different types of categories you would describe yourself with. Please just keep in mind you always have the option to put not sure or decline to state if you'd rather not provide this information. Then you just want to include your birth information and answer the questions to these various questions on here. Next, you will be asked to provide your contact information, including your address, your telephone number, and your email address that you already provided previously. Then you will be asked to provide your citizenship and residency information. If you are a U.S. citizen, you just want to indicate if you were born outside the U.S., what year you began your stay in the U.S. If you are a permanent resident, green card holder, you'll be asked to provide your permanent resident card information. And if you are undocumented, you would just put none and indicate your country of citizenship. Please note that it is not a requirement for a student to be a permanent resident or a U.S. citizen to attend a CSU. Additionally, you want to indicate whether or not you claim California residency, and this is regardless of your citizenship status, and whether or not you have lived in California continuously since birth. If you have not, you will put no and when your present stay began. Next, you want to answer some questions about your race and ethnicity. So you want to indicate whether or not you consider yourself Hispanic or Latino, which race or races you identify with, so you can select more than one option on here. And then you'll be asked to just answer with one summary race or ethnicity to describe yourself. Again, you always have the option on these questions to put decline to state. Then you will be asked to include your Social Security number. Please note that it is not a requirement to have a Social Security number. However, if you have one, you do want to enter it here. But if you don't, you just want to indicate no and acknowledge that you do not have a Social Security number. The statewide ID is a number that you will find if you went to a California high school. However, if you don't have access to your transcript, you can leave this option blank as it is not a required field. You will also want to answer the following questions about what your first language was, if you are military independent, and if you've been in good academic standing at your previous institution. If you've ever been disciplined for academic performance, in other words, you've been on academic probation or disqualified from a university or a college, you will have to explain it here. So if you put yes to any of these questions here, you will have to explain what exactly the situation was and at which institution you were on probation or were dismissed. You will be asked whether or not you are interested in doing a teacher credential program, either now or in the future. If you are not interested, you can just put not interested. And you also want to indicate whether or not you're interested in having your eligibility checked for monthly food assistance through the CalFresh program. If you'd like more information about that program, you can always click on the link that's provided here. Additionally, if you are earning the associate degree for transfer, some CSUs have a California Promise program of their own that's designed to help you graduate in 2 years. If this is something you think you're interested in, you should click on this link here to read more about it and see if the campuses that you're interested in are participating. But again, this is primarily for ADT students. So if you're not earning an ADT, you can just click on no. And then you want to indicate whether or not you have or are planning on earning a registered nursing license and where you heard about the Cal State application. The last screen in this quadrant is going to be the financial and parental information. So what you want to do on here is read all of these questions and answer yes or no. If you answered no to all of these questions, you are going to be considered a dependent for the purposes of this application. And what that means is you are going to have to provide information about your parents. If, however, you were able to say yes to any of those questions, you are considered an independent for the purposes of this application. Please note that this has nothing to do with how you identify on your taxes. So if you are considered an independent, this information is about you, your partner or your spouse, and any dependent children you may have. So you will have to provide 2020 tax information about how much you made, as well as how many people were in your household and if you had any untaxed income and benefits. If you are considered a dependent, you'll provide the same information, but this is going to be about your parents and their household and their income, untaxed income and benefits. Regardless of the option that you choose, however, you are going to indicate whether or not you're interested in campus housing and what your parents' highest level of education was. And you will see that now this quadrant is complete. So for our next video, we're going to start talking about quadrant number 2, which is the academic history quadrant.